today we're going to be learning volume of cylinder, so another shape. Very, very similar to volume of prism, if not the same. Volume of prism is area of the base times height. So you can see just right away, area of the base times the height. But what is your base all the time with a cylinder? It's a circle. So for a cylinder, the formula is the one that's usually used as pi r squared times height. Because if the base is always a circle for a cylinder, why not just throw in pi r squared every time? So to find the volume of a cylinder, it says big B, but remember, it's always a circle. So we need to figure out the radius. They give us a diameter. So half of 16 is 8. So we plug that in our calculator, and we get 201.1, and then over feet squared. Next, your height is 9. You go 9 in for height, so 9 feet. And remember, different from surface area, we're multiplying these numbers together to get the volume, 1,809.9 feet. That is the volume of the cylinder. This is an oblique cylinder, though it's, it's a little slanted, it's oblique. The height, the distance between the bases, is still the 16, and that's what you're still going to use for your height. So let's back up. Pi r squared. Radius, again, don't be fooled, they give you diameter, so make sure you put it in half. Multiply that out, you get 50.3 meters squared. Then for your height, like I said, is 16, the perpendicular distance between the bases. So you plug this in your calculator, multiply it out, you get 804.8 meters cubed. Yeah, that's your volume. Let's amp it up a little more. So we have base, pi r squared. This one they give you radius, so that's nice, 2.5. Type that in, and we get what, 19.6 inches squared. Height, great, it's not given. It's not 13, that's not the height. It's a perpendicular distance between the bases. So this is your height, okay, because your bases are the two circles. All right, well, when I don't know something, I have to look for triangles. So let's see what happens if I extend my radius. So I did a diameter, and because height is perpendicular to the bases, oh, look, there's a little triangle there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this be my h, and I'm going to double 2.5 to get that whole length, the whole diameter of 5 inches. Okay. So, I guess we're going to be using Pythagorean theorem. So h squared plus 5 squared equals 13 squared. Okay, so when you solve that, maybe you might already know what it is. This is a triple. It is 12. Okay, so 12 inches. So then, for your volume, 12 inches, and then 19.6 inches squared. Multiply them out, 235.2 inches cubed. That one was a little tricky because you had to do that extra stuff. But nothing you guys can't handle. Hey, let's do some algebra. So we need to find the missing measurement of each cylinder of solid. Show work. So this is intense. We got to find the surface area of a right cylinder with a volume of 81 pi cubic centimeters and the radius is 1.5. Okay, so they give us volume. Okay. So the volume formula for a cylinder is pi r squared times height. So instead of B, I'm going to write 81 pi, and then I go pi And then, did they give me radius? Yes. Radius, 1.5. So I got to square that, and then I have times h. So I'm going to figure out what h is first, and look, there's a blank for that. So if this is like part A of a problem on the test, you would know what to do. Hint, got it? Okay. So we get 81 pi, and I square the 1.5 to get 2.25, and I just put it first. I'm used to seeing the number in front of the variable, so I just rearrange these two. And then to get h alone, I need that pi out of there, so I'm going to divide both sides by pi, because those will divide out. And I also need to divide both sides by 2.25. So 81 divided by 2.25 is 36, and that's my height. It's 36 centimeters. And then I'm done. Not. I got to find the surface area. That's the second part of the problem here. So surface area of a right cylinder, everyone remembers the formula, of course, is 2 pi r times height plus 2 pi r squared. So I'm just going to plug everything in. So 2 pi radius is 1.5. My height was 36. That's what I figured out from before. Plus 2 pi and then 1.5 squared. So when I type all that in my calculator, I get 353.4 centimeters squared. Oh, I should have wrote that there. Another one with algebra. So they give us the volume. So write down the formula for volume. So I'm going to write 147 pi in for V. I have pi, radius, no, not at all. So I just wrote r squared, and then my height is 3. And again, just this bothers me. I like having the 3 and the pi out front before the variable. So what I'm going to do is try to get r alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi. I need the pi out. So those will divide out. And I need to divide both sides by 3 to get my r squared along. So when I divide 147 by 3, I get 49. So then, to get r alone, I'm going to square root both sides. And because radius is a length, that's going to be just a positive 7. So this is going to be 7 feet. But then they want diameter, so double it, 14. So this next one is just like, yes, very similar to yesterday. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the volume of the entire cylinder, and then the volume of the smaller one. So here we're going to find the volume of this whole thing. And then we're going to find the volume of this one inside that you can't see. And subtract them. Just like what we did with area. Okay. This little picture over here is a little bit of calculus for you, just because it's fun. But what they do on the graph is they rotate a line around an axis to get 3D figures out of it. But the way you start figuring this out and setting up what is called an integral is you use the volume formula of the cylinder. That's where it's derived from. So it does come up again. This is when they're programming it into the computer. So if you need to make, program something in for maybe pipes into machine, that's what you have to type it in mathematically so they can get the dimensions right. So that's a little advanced there for you, but just so you can see something kind of like that problem used later on. So the find volume of the cylinder, just this one, is pi r squared times height. So pi radius is, now they give us this whole thing is 0.8, so my radius here is 0.4 centimeters. And the height, the distance between the two circles, is 12. So when I multiply that out, I get 6.0 centimeters squared, or cubed, sorry. And then to find the volume of the inner cylinder, I do pi r squared times height again. Pi radius, so now I'm talking about this one, half of 0.6 is 0.3. Square it, height is still 12, because it's going through the same thing. It's not longer or shorter than it. It goes through the entire thing. So I multiply that, you get 3.4 centimeters cubed. And so to find the volume of the pipe, I'm going to take the 6.0 minus the 3.4 to get 2.6 centimeters cubed for the entire pipe. Another one like that. Here we're going to go back to prism. It's not a cylinder anymore. And we're going to cut off, so we're going to take a prism and cut off the cylinder. So to find the volume of the cube, that's the area of the base times the height. So that's, the base is 5 by 5, so 5 squared. The height is also 5, so we get 125 feet cubed. Volume of the cylinder, so the little hole there is pi r squared times height. So pi, the radius, so half of 3, because they said that was that whole length, is 1.5, square it, height is 5. So the volume of my cylinder is 35.3 feet cubed. So to find the volume of the entire thing, I'm going to subtract. I'm going to take 125 minus the 35.3 to get 89.7 cubic feet. And that's my answer.